Dr. Night Echoes. My roommate and I rented this old place near campus. Thin walls, creaky floors, and a weird smell that never went away. One night, my roommate was up late playing video games. I was asleep, but he told me later that he saw a pale mist roll out of the kitchen. He thought it was smoke from the stove until it drifted across the hallway and slid right under the bathroom door. No sound, just this slow movement, like it knew exactly where it was going.
He didn't open the door. He said he just sat there, staring, controller in his hand, until the screen went idle. He told me in the morning, and we laughed about it, saying it must have been steam from the pipes, but we both knew it didn't feel like that. A few nights later, he stayed up again. I was in bed when I heard him walking through the house, locking up. He told me he'd turned off the lights in the living room and was heading for the door when it happened. Someone exhaled right into his ear. He said it wasn't faint. It was warm, wet, like someone leaning close enough that he could feel the moisture of it against his skin. He spun around, but no one was there. The room was empty, only the TV reflection flickering across the dark window. He didn't sleep that night. I found him sitting in the kitchen with every light on, staring at the bathroom door. When I asked what happened, he just said, "It came from behind me." But there's no one behind me. We moved out 2 weeks later. The day before we left, I noticed the bathroom trap door slightly ajar, dust around the edges disturbed, like something had recently been up there. Or come down. My father-in-law died before my son was born. He never got to meet him. We didn't talk about him much. My husband didn't like to, and there were no photos around the house when we finally moved into our new home. My son was 2, just starting to talk in full sentences. At first, I thought nothing of it when I'd hear him laughing in the middle of the night. Toddlers wake up and play. But sometimes, I'd hear him whispering, like he was having a conversation. Soft giggles, as if someone was answering him. Back when I'd check on him, he'd just smile and say he was playing. I figured it was just imagination. A few weeks later, we finally started decorating. The last box we opened had some old family photos, including one of my father-in-law. It was taken years ago, him sitting on the porch, smiling faintly. The kind of photo that makes you feel like he's looking straight through you. I hung it on the hallway wall, just outside the living room. My son was sitting on the floor with his toys when I stepped back to see how it looked. He glanced up at the picture, tilted his head, and said casually, "Oh, Mommy, why do you have a picture of the man who comes to play with me at night?" I froze. He said it like it was the most normal thing in the world, still stacking his blocks without looking away from the photo. I asked him what he meant, but he just pointed. "That one. He sits on the floor and tells me funny stories." He's nice. He had never seen that picture before. We'd never even mentioned his grandfather's name around him. That night, I kept every light in the hallway on. My son slept fine, but I lay awake, staring at the open doorway, waiting for some sound. Around 2 a.m., I thought I heard faint laughter coming from his room. It wasn't my son's voice. I was 12 when it happened. It was late, maybe close to midnight. The house was quiet, and I was half asleep, drifting in that heavy space between waking and dreaming when I heard it. A baby, laughing. It was quick, just a few seconds, but clear and sharp, like someone was right beside my bed. Not muffled, not distant. It was in the room with me. I froze, staring into the dark, waiting for something else to follow. Nothing did.
just silence. I told myself it was a dream, maybe my brain playing tricks, and forced myself to go back to sleep. The next morning, I was eating cereal when my sister walked into the kitchen, looking tired. She asked, "Did you hear that last night?" I said no, trying to sound casual. She frowned and said, "A baby crying. It woke me up. It sounded like it was in the hallway." My stomach dropped. I didn't tell her what I'd heard. There were no babies anywhere near our house, no neighbors with kids that young, and no reason for that sound to exist. All day I kept thinking about it. The short giggle, that strange realness to it. It wasn't like a sound from a TV or outside. It had weight, like breath behind it. That night, I checked every corner of my room before bed. The closet, under the bed, behind the curtains. When I turned off the light, the quiet felt different, heavier. I stayed awake for a long time, listening, every little creak making me tense. Around 1 a.m, I heard a soft shuffle in the hallway. Not footsteps, just movement. Then something brushed lightly against my door. I didn't move. I lay there, holding my breath, until I finally drifted off, just before dawn. When I woke up, the door was slightly open. I know I'd closed it tight. It happened on a quiet Sunday afternoon. I was sitting at the table, scrolling through my phone, when our cat, Nib, wandered through the dining area. She was moving, slow, tail up, head, turning toward the kitchen. Then she stopped. At first I thought she'd seen a bug or something, but then her body slid backward, smooth, steady, about 5 feet. Her paws scraped against the floor, nails clicking as she tried to grip. Her tail was stretched, straight behind her, pulled tight like someone had grabbed it and wasn't letting go. There was no one there. For a second, I couldn't even move. Nib let out this low, panicked yowl and tried to twist around, but it was like something was holding her in place. Her back legs scrambled uselessly, claws skittering on the tile. Then, as suddenly as it started, she was released. She bolted under the couch and didn't come out for hours. I just sat there, staring at the spot where it happened, waiting for some explanation. That night, I mentioned it to my partner. They said maybe it was her. We'd both heard things before. Tiny footsteps upstairs. A laugh that sounded too light to be an adult's. Sometimes we'd find toys from the attic moved into the hallway, the kind meant for a little kid. It always felt more curious than dangerous. But that day, something about the way Nib was dragged made my stomach twist. It wasn't playful. It felt like someone testing boundaries, seeing what they could do. Later that week, I was lying in bed when I heard the faint sound of the cat toy bell jingling in the living room. Just once, then silence. Nib was sleeping beside me. I'd told my friends plenty of times that the house was haunted, but no one ever believed me. But that afternoon, I decided to prove it. It was bright out, sunlight spilling through the windows. We were all in the living room laughing about something stupid when I said, half joking, "If you're here, do something, anything." The second I finished the sentence, every light in the house started flickering. Not just a few, all of them. Lamps, ceiling lights, the kitchen overhead. They blinked in and out, fast, almost like they were pulsing. Everyone stopped talking. You could hear the faint buzz of the bulbs straining, the rhythm uneven, like something was inside the wires. It went on for nearly a minute. We just stood there watching, no one saying a word. Then it stopped. Everything went still. The sunlight looked different after that.
duller somehow, like dust had settled in the air. Then came the smell. It rolled in soft at first, then thick. Old lady perfume, flowery, powdery, and too strong. It filled the house fast, like someone had sprayed it right next to us. I saw one of my friends wrinkle his nose and back away. Another asked if I'd sprayed something. I hadn't. There wasn't even anything in the house that smelled like that. One of my friends opened the front door to air it out, but the smell didn't fade. It just drifted toward the hallway, as if following us. That night, after everyone left, I walked through the house alone. No lights flickered, no sound, just that same perfume. Faint, but still there, hanging around the spot where we'd all been standing, like she'd never left. The first time it happened, it was around 3 a.m. I woke up to the sound of a door slamming over and over again. My roommate's room was right across the hall, and it sounded like he was just throwing it open and shutting it as hard as he could. I yelled for him to knock it off, but there was no answer, just another slam. Then it hit me. I was the only one home that weekend. The house went dead silent after that, and I sat up in bed listening. That's when I heard the faint clatter of the beaded curtain hanging outside my door. It started to sway, the beads clicking softly at first, then harder, faster, like someone was brushing their hand through them again and again. My door was shut tight, but I could see the beads through the thin crack at the bottom, moving just enough for their shadows to dance across the floor. I told myself it was air from the vent or the window, but the air conditioner wasn't even on. The sound got sharper, more rhythmic, like it had purpose. And it didn't stop. It went on for what felt like forever. Half an hour at least. I lay there in the dark, frozen, clutching my blanket, thinking about ripping out the air conditioner and climbing out the window. But I didn't. I just stayed there, curled up, staring at the doorknob, until the beads finally went still. A few nights later, it happened again, but differently. I woke up around 1 a.m. to the sound of music coming from the back porch, an old Nintendo startup tune, loud and clear. It got louder as I walked toward it, bat in hand. I thought maybe someone had broken in, some drunk kid messing around. But when I opened the door, the sound stopped, just like that. The console was off, the screen was black, and the power cord was still unplugged from the wall, just how I'd left it. The silence that followed felt heavier than the noise ever did. It started with heavy thumps from the attic, at random hours, midnight, 3 a.m., even during dinner. We kept saying it had to be squirrels, but it didn't sound like that. The noises were too slow, too steady. Footsteps crossing the ceiling, stopping right above me, like it knew where I was. After a few weeks, the noises changed. They weren't just footsteps anymore. We started hearing voices, not shouting, just low, steady murmurs, too soft to make out words, but close enough that you could tell they were human. It would wake me in the middle of the night, that faint rise and fall of sound right above my head. One night, I got brave enough to knock on the ceiling the moment my fist hit the drywall. Everything went silent. I waited, staring at the ceiling, but nothing moved. I didn't try that again. After that, I couldn't sleep in my room. The voices kept coming back, sometimes near the attic, sometimes from the hallway, always between 2 and 4 in the morning. I started sleeping on the couch in the living room, but even there I could hear faint movement above me,
like something pacing.
A few times, the voices sounded like they were coming from inside the walls. Just a few words here and there, too fast to understand. My mom said she didn't hear them, but I'd catch her standing at the bottom of the attic stairs, staring up, not moving. Eventually, I stopped trying to sleep at night. I'd take a blanket and sit out on the porch until morning. The air was cold, but it was quiet out there. When the sun finally came up, I'd go back inside. The attic would be silent again, like nothing had ever happened. But every now and then, right before dawn, I could still hear a single thump from above. Just one. Like something reminding me it was still there. After my father died, I moved into his apartment. My mom couldn't afford to keep it, but she still had the key, and I didn't have anywhere else to go. About a month in, I fell asleep on the couch in the living room. The hallway light was off, but the glow from the street lamp outside stretched across the carpet right up to that spot. That night, I dreamed he was standing there, same place, leaning against the wall with that crooked grin he always had when he was about to tell a bad joke. His voice sounded clear. He said something dumb, then laughed. It wasn't scary. It felt weirdly normal, like he'd never left. I woke up suddenly. The room was quiet except for the refrigerator humming in the kitchen. I froze. My skin tingled all over. It wasn't light or imagined. It felt warm, human. I turned on the lamp beside me. Nothing. The hallway was empty. The air didn't move. I sat there for a while, waiting for the feeling to fade. But the spot where it touched me stayed warm. I told myself it was a dream, a mix of memory and half-sleep. But before I moved out, I started noticing something strange. Every morning, the hallway light would be on, even though I always turned it off before bed. Always. That one. The one closest to where he fell.